What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, plump, juicy, amazing bangers and mash, featuring some scratch-made banger sausages with some lovely scallion mashed potatoes, topped with a homemade smoky gravy. Coming up! This is some pork. Ooh. Pat it dry. And what I got here is some chunks of some pork butt as well as some pork belly, which I'm gonna get cubed up so it fits in the meat grinder a little bit easier. And that's because today we're taking a look at bangers and mash, which is something I've been wanting to make on this channel for quite some time, because what's not to like? It's a beautiful, delicious sausage paired with mashed potatoes and of course a nice thick smoky gravy, or at least in our case it'll be a smoky gravy. We actually made it about a year ago on St. Patrick's Day down at the Chud shop. Joe Yim, Knox Ave Barbecue here on YouTube, actually documented that cook. So you can check out that video if you want to see a little behind the scene, maybe beer infused Chuds barbecue content. But me and the boys whipped up a very quick bangers and mash, and it was absolutely fantastic. Bones talks about it all the time about how we need to make it again because it had no business being as good as it was. And seeing how I just made a Cumberland sausage video a couple weeks back, I still got plenty of Rusk on hand, which is used in bangers as well. So I figured, why not make bangers and mash one more time and see if we can capture the magic that we had last time. And bangers can take on different sizes and flavor profiles, whether you're in England or Ireland or anywhere else. But for the most part, they're pretty similar to the Cumberland sausage, which is pretty similar to an American breakfast style sausage, meaning it's got some herbs and spices and of course Rusk as the binder, which gives it that signature texture. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go check out the Cumberland sausage video because I talk all about Rusk and I actually make some in that very video. But to get things started, like I said, we're gonna cube this up so it fits in the meat grinder a little bit easier, and we're gonna make an all pork banger today. And it should be pretty easy. But just like that, all cubed up, 5 pounds of pork going into the freezer to get nice and cold. Spice mix for our bangers includes kosher salt, granulated garlic, granulated onion, some freshly cracked black pepper, made super easy by my pepper cannon, love that thing, not sponsored, some dry rosemary, dry thyme, some freshly grated nutmeg, sage, some mace, and our homemade rusk. And a lot of it. A lot more binder in these English/Irish sausages than we typically make here in the States and on this channel. And get that all nice and mixed up. And I'm not sure if this is a traditional banger recipe, but this is the very one that I made last St. Patty's Day after a few too many Guinnesses, and it was really good. So we're gonna see if it holds up or if I need to be a few more beers deep for it to be good. But it certainly does smell good. And now that our meat is nice and cold, through the meat grinder we go. Got the fine die on there and we're gonna go through once. Beautiful grind on that. As you can see, a good amount of fat in there, nothing is too smeared or anything like that. So now in we go with all of our spices and our binder. And we're gonna start mixing that in. Whew. Making sausage on a really cold day is not ideal, if you're outside that is. Cold hands. And once everything is evenly dispersed, in we go with our water, 10% by weight. And now we're gonna mix this up for a good few minutes until everything is nice and tacky and come together. And once looking nice and tacky, it's time to case. Going on with some natural hog casings today. These are the 28mm ones. Well, 28 to 32 or something like that. Tie it off. Snip the tip. And we case. I'm gonna go for some short little stubby guys like that today. Nice and plump. And you could make these whatever size you like. You know, some sheep casings on these would be pretty tasty. But when I think about a banger, I think about a plump little guy like this. Honestly, it looks a lot like the nice and plump character we have on our stickers. His name is Plunt. And just like that, all cased up, looking absolutely beautiful. So now into the fridge these go. And per usual, you don't have to rest these in the fridge overnight. There's no nitrates or cure in there that need to activate or anything like that. But it will allow time for the water and the rusks to really absorb everything, all the spices to hydrate, and that salt to start working on the meat. And also dry out the casings, which will make them even more snappy and delicious. So we'll check back in on these tomorrow. Next up, Let's go ahead and make a quick chicken stock. And by quick, I mean it'll still take a couple hours, but compared to my normal method of simmering overnight, it's still pretty quick. And to do that, we're gonna be using my new pressure cooker. Got this for Christmas. It's an Insta pot, and I've used it to make stock several times so far this year. And it works incredibly well. Really turns bones into dust pretty quick. But first, we need to cook off some bones, so let's go ahead and fire up the pit. Ooh, still got plenty of charcoal in there. Going on the grill with some chicken bones. These are just some carcasses and whatnot. Super cheap, pick these up at the grocery store. Also grab some chicken necks, and we're just gonna get a little bit of color on these, a little smoky charcoal flavor, and get them cooking a little bit. Beautiful. And after about 10-15 minutes or so, we're getting some good color on these. Really not trying to burn them or anything like that, but just add some grilled flavor. I also was looking through the freezer and I found some chicken feet, which are really great for stock because they're super inexpensive, but they're full of collagen, which will make for a really nice gelatinous stock. So now, off the pit these come, and into the old Instapot. And then in true stock making fashion, I'm gonna go through the fridge and find a bunch of random stuff to throw in here, like this parsley, throw that in there. Got some baby carrots that are actually frozen because they're in the back of the fridge, so yeah, toss a few of those in there as well. A little bit of garlic, a couple of peppercorns, and a few bay leaves. Why not? And then we top it all off with some water. Beautiful. Now I'm gonna put this on high pressure for the next 2 to 3 hours. Found an onion too. Now we're gonna put this on high pressure for 2.5 hours. And after 2 hours is up, or was it 2.5? I think it was 2.5. This has stopped cooking, the pressure has released, and our stock is done. So now all we're gonna do is strain it out. So I've got this little strainy poo here. We're gonna just go in and send it all through, but that's a neck, and yeah, that just wants to fall apart. Chicken feet, gross. I don't wanna try that onion. That is just pure mush. It's crazy how tender this stuff gets in just a couple hours. And you could probably do this quicker, you know, if you didn't have the time. You could probably just do like a half an hour stock or something, because my meat doesn't get this tender in a regular pot in like 12 hours. So pressure does something, folks. And just like that, all strained out. I'm gonna pop a lid on this and put it in the fridge overnight, which will let all the fat kind of separate to the top and it'll collect a lot of the impurities. So then tomorrow we can kind of come in, skim it all off, and we'll have a nice, clean, very smoky, delicious chicken stock. One overnight later, this stock is looking kind of weird. And that's just because of all the fats and the weird impurities and the bits of parsley and whatnot that have floated to the top. But as you can see, it's got a nice jiggle factor from all the gelatin in there. But now all I'm gonna do is come in here with a spoon and skim this off to reveal a beautiful stock underneath. And once defatted, into some cork containers we go. I'm gonna send it through a fine mesh screen here just to catch any smaller particulates. And at this point, you could reduce this down if you wanted to. I do that all the time. Makes it a lot more thicker, concentrates the flavor, but mostly makes for smaller storage. And then you can take a piece out, add some water to it, and that way you don't have to have a whole gallon of stock on hand. But it does smell very good. And checking back in on our plumpkins here. These are looking good, and to be honest with you, I meant to go ahead and separate these last night so they dried out all the way around, but apparently I forgot to do that. But they're looking good, definitely a little drier, a little tackier. Casing looks a lot tighter, which is great. So now all we need to do is go ahead and snip them all apart. And just like that, we've got ourselves Banger Mountain. Beautiful. Next up, I think I'm gonna change venues and head down to the Chud shop because we need to make ourselves some mashed potatoes. Got some Yukon Golds here today for our mashed potatoes. We're leaving the skin on because I like a little bit of a rustic potato. But first we're gonna get these boiled off. Got a big pot of water coming up to a boil. We're gonna season it heavily with kosher salt. And in we go with all of our taters. I'm also gonna throw in the whites from some green onions just to infuse the potatoes with a little more flavor. And after about 10-15 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and scoop all these out of there because they've done their job. And conveniently, they're all floating to the top, which is great. And poking these bad boys, they are feeling fully cooked through and nice and tender. So out they come. And now to turn these into mashed potatoes, busting out the old potato ricer. Love this thing. Makes easy work of it and gives you the perfect texture every time. And the convenient part is, for the most part, the skins won't make it through this. So we just saved ourselves a lot of time by not having to peel all these. Going right back into the same pot just to keep these warm. And just like that, all rice looking nice and fluffy. So now we need to go ahead and melt down some butter, Irish butter. And while that melts down, we'll go in and add some milk as well. You could use cream if you wanted it to be a little bit richer. And once nicely melted and nice and hot, in we go. Just little by little until you have the consistency that you're after. Oops. Just get it all folded together. Texture is looking beautiful, so now we're gonna get this seasoned up with a big fat pinch of salt, a little bit of white pepper if you're feeling frisky. I'm also gonna turn this into champ by going in with some green onions. And champ is just simply mashed potatoes with green onions in it. But get this all folded together, taste and adjust for salt, and our lovely looking mashed potatoes are done. Next up, let's go ahead and knock out our gravy. Starting by melting down some butter. And once nicely melted down and we've cooked a lot of the water out of the butter, in we go with our flour, same amount as the butter. And we're gonna cook that down and make a roux. And this is Wondra flour, by the way. My favorite flour for making gravies because it's super fine and it doesn't clump nearly as easily. And after letting that cook down for just a couple minutes, it smells really good, didn't darken up too much. And now in we go with our homemade smoky chicken stock from earlier. Nice and thick, look at the jello. Bring that up to a simmer. You should see it thicken up immediately. Then we'll go in with a big fat pinch of salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. Taste and adjust, and if it's too thin, you can always reduce it down a little bit. But that is looking pretty much perfect to me. Oh, that is so good. Very chickeny, very rich. Mashed potatoes are made, keeping warm on the stove over there alongside of our gravy. So now all we gotta do is get those sausages cooked off. So let's go ahead and fire up the pit. Now, typically bangers are just cooked off in a pan, but we're here at the Chud shop, so you know I gotta fire up the grill, but we've got the grill grate and the griddle in there, and I don't mind getting a little extra charcoal flavor on these bad boys, but really we're just trying to crisp the casing and cook them through and see if they live up to their name and explode on the pit, which is pretty likely. And that's because of all the filler, in this case Rusk, that's in there. They tend to get really plump and explode, which is why they're called bangers. But I can start these off the coals just to get some ambient heat going and get these things cooking through. But I suppose you could put some wood in there. I don't see anything wrong with the smoked banger, but just not very traditional. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Actually, I might just keep them on this griddle side the whole time. Feeling very plump already. Beautiful, just keep them cooking. And just like that, these guys are feeling impossibly plump, looking very good, and off the pit these come. Whew, they're toasty. Rocking an internal temp of about 165, 170, and looking greasy, but nothing really exploded, which is a good thing. Gotta say, I'm liking the smell. The color could be better, but that is what happens when you cook on a griddle a lot of the time. Hey, look, you can see my face. Hi. But we're gonna let these cool down for a little bit. After cooling down, still nice and plump. I think it's time to see what they look like. Very soft, very similar to the Cumberlands. Smell different though. Taking a look at that inside, nice and plump, looking nice and juicy. But I think it's time we played it up. Got our bangers beautifully splayed out, and now we're gonna go down right about, with some of our lovely buttery scallion-y mashed potatoes. Make a little well in the top to hold some gravy. And then down we go with some of our lovely, thick, smoky, chickeny gravy. Oh yeah, that stuff is so good, folks. Beautiful. I mean, what's not to like here, folks? Some beautiful, plump little bangers with some mashed potatoes studded with green onions, topped in a smoky, thick, chickeny gravy. Yeah, I'm ready to dive on in. To start things off, let's go ahead and give this sausage a try by itself, shall we? Yep. Oh, that is so good. I love that texture that the Rusk gives to a sausage. It's that classic English or Irish sausage. A lot of filler, but the flavor is perfect. The texture is, it's almost bready. I don't know how else to describe it, but it also just holds in all of the flavor, all the juices from the pork and the fat and the water. Everything stays in there. Even though they were looking a little bit greasy, it all got absorbed by that Rusk. It makes for a very pleasant bite. It's almost creamy. Casing still nice and snappy. This is a very snackable sausage too, there's nothing offensive about it. Not spicy, not smoky, not cured. Good for any meal of the day. A lot of really good herb flavors in there too. That nutmeg is coming through, the mace, strong black pepper flavor as well. This is a keeper. I like it. But really, I mean, mashed potatoes and gravy with a sausage, can't go wrong with that. I really like the addition of the scallions in there. Adds more flavor, more texture, and that gravy is just out of this world. It's so chickeny, so rich. You gotta go aggressive, right?
I don't know. It's not gonna fit the whole thing.
Clears.
Is that a clinky and cheers?
That's exactly what that was.
What's the Irish one?
Prost.
No. We'll look it up later.
Oh, that's good. Bones, can I interest you in some bangers and mash?
Absolutely. It's this cute little bowl he made me.
Yeah, I made you a little KFC gravy bowl here.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the last time we made this, just
Yeah.
in paper plates.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems
Yeah.
fitting.
That gravy is so good.
The
And that,
texture of it, so thick.
yep.
That is phenomenal.
The green onions, I thought it would be too oniony, but it's just a nice hint. Feels like I'm eating vegetables.
Right? Yeah, it's healthy. We're healthy now. I'm telling you, folks, that gravy, I make it all the time because I'm always making stock on this channel, but highly recommend it. You ever had a banger in the States before?
Only the last time we made bangers
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Which was last St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
Yep. That is so good. That texture is like,
Brings you right back.
yeah.
There's not much else like it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure panko might get you close, but like compared to the other binders, like a milk powder or the
Right.
sea bind, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't feel greasy. And the thing about when you make it is it's much more flavorful than what we find in the UK and Ireland. Like, that is so good.
How's the salt level on these? I was concerned about it because I added so much more rusk than I would milk powder or something like that, that I thought it might dilute the salinity a little bit, but it's right
No.
there.
And I think that the amount of spices, like it's perfectly spiced.
Very
I bet.
flavorful. And it goes great with gravy.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Gravy and mashed potatoes.
There it is. The banger and mash bite. The only problem with the Rusk sausages is I don't think they snap very well. I was wrong. That was
pretty
pretty
good.
good. How would you describe the texture to someone?
It's not crumbly because it holds together.
Right.
But it's just like a, I have no idea.
I'm at a loss.
Yeah, I can't
Same.
do it.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's kind of bready. It's kind of creamy. It's, I don't know. It's just unique.
Yeah, it's like a tight fluff. Like, I don't know.
I'm a big fan of this texture, though. This is one of those sausages that I will be making off camera
Yeah.
for myself just to have on hand. That's why I made 5 pounds of it. It should freeze and reheat very well. I'm throwing this knife away because all of these coins are stuck together. So
Yeah, I noticed that.
I hate when people do that. Cut your sausages properly. And they're great dipped in gravy. I'm going to eat all of those. Bones, you want to play a game of Split the Sea?
Yeah. It's not much. Oh, way too much. Terrible.
Tilt it, though.
I can't tilt it enough.
And with this very last bite of sausage, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic scratch-made bangers and mash. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, those sausages are so fun to make. They're great to have on hand. They're a crowd pleaser every time. And I can't really think of anything better to pair them with than some creamy, fluffy mashed potatoes with a homemade, smoky, thick, super flavorful chicken gravy. Definitely something I'll be making again very soon. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!